There's no way, absolutely no way Ultron can be a good guy. There's no way he can be redeemed. Can he? One way to find out. My name is Doran. This is SCM Comics. We are starting our coverage of West Coast Avengers with number 1. Our story starts off in Los Angeles, California. I don't know, some of you gotta say duh. You gotta remember, it's West Coast Avengers. West Coast is pretty big. There's a burning building and it looks like it's Iron Man. He goes, 2 humans fail to evacuate. Uses repulsor rays to open up the door. Reaches out his hand. The lady holding a child goes, I thought we were dead. But then she sees it's Ultron. He even says, my name is Ultron, and I'm here to save you. He blasts a hole in the wall to prevent smoke inhalation, and then he grabs the child and the lady and flies off. And the lady goes, I thought you were Iron Man, but then I see you're the robot that's always fighting the Avengers. And he goes, yeah, I used to, but that was in the past. So he drops them off, and then he also captures the dudes that were responsible for the bombing in the first place. So while that's going on, Tony Stark was narrating to himself, and he was like, I need Ultron to really be on the side of good this time. For one, I'm helping our roadie with this Avengers rehabilitation program, and for 2, it allows me to tear up this $250,000 customized sports car on the freeway. He's being chased by this terrorist organization that actually were involved with the bombing of the apartment complex, and they're shooting at him. He's having issues with armor still because of the whole Starks-Roxxon war, which we're covering. Link will be in the description. He goes into this storage unit and he's going through all these different costumes, and then he finds his old armor. It's the Silver Centurion armor, which he says is his favorite, even though he was a little bit skinnier when he last wore it. He gets it on. The terrorists are pretty much telling him to get his ass out here. He hits one of them with a repulsor beam, and then he steps out, and he has 2 car batteries strapped up to his waist to power the thing. So he's blocking their fire. He kicks his sports car into one of them. He goes to hit another one with a repulsor beam, and it doesn't work. And the dude's like, out of juice, huh? The Iron Man is like, yeah, I might be out of juice, but I'm never out of fists. But he punches the hell out of the dude. And then we see him on a moped because he ain't got enough power to fly. Now, the reason why he's on the moped is he's trying to get to another hot situation by the same group that's happening at this moment. So War Machine, Ultron, Spider-Woman, and Blue Bolt show up at the hostage situation. If you're wondering who Blue Bolt is, don't worry, he's a brand new character. So the Ultron's trying to do hostage negotiations. The terrorists are like, why should we trust you? Ain't you like some genocidal robot? Last time we saw you, you was wearing Hank Pym's face. Ultron goes, he has a point. And the roadie's like, why don't you let somebody else do the negotiations? So Iron Man shows up on his old moped, and he has a nerve to be wearing a helmet. He goes to Blue Bolt and is like, hey, can you give me a jump? And Blue Bolt's like, dude, this is embarrassing. I should have stayed in prison. Iron Man's like, I'll pay you. And Blue Bolt's like, how much? I'll pay you enough not to kick your ass off the Avengers prison release program. And then Blue Bolt's like, it's always the richest dudes that are the cheapest. So he charges him up, and then Iron Man's like, all right, let's do hostage negotiations. Ultron's like, we should do a coordinated non-lethal attack. Blue Bolt should sit this out. Iron Man goes, agreed. Blue Bolt's like, sit this one out. Why should I sit this one out? And he blasts at like the area, and Ultron's like, Blue Bolt, no, there are underground gas lines. And sure enough, everybody gets blown up. So now there were a bunch of injuries. The actual terrorist group did get away, but luckily there were no fatalities, even though Jessica Jones and Blue Bolt are now headed to the hospital. At the hospital, we see Blue Bolt talking to a reporter, giving his side of the story, which is not the truth. Tony can't stand hearing it and just leaves out looking for Jessica, and Jessica is talking to a cancer patient. So I guess she has terminal cancer. Tony asks if he can do anything. She says, you got a cure for it? He goes, unfortunately, I don't. She goes, well, then you really can't help me. He goes, well, I can fly you around to the city, or I can blast somebody non-lethally. She goes, no, I'm good. But hey, look, there's a free bed here because I'm on my way out of here. So then she leaves, and then Jessica Jones like, you know what? I'll take you up on that offer. You can fly me home. So as they're flying over the city, Jessica's talking to him, and Tony felt like they was going to have a heart-to-heart. And she was like, mutual friends of ours feel like that Emma might have twisted your brain a little bit. He goes, no, trust me, she didn't use any manipulation. If anything, she just opened my eyes to a few things. As they fly to an airport that Tony bought, that's going to be the new West Coast Avengers headquarters. And until they get it all furnished and get everything the way they want in there, he also got a taco truck to be outside so they can eat. He offers Jessica to stay, but she's like, nope, gotta get back to San Francisco, so I'll see you later. So then Tony goes into his airport and he calls Firestar. He's like, yeah, we're starting this rehabilitation program, but I want a few straight shooters on the team, and you're the first person I thought about. And all of a sudden, we see Firestar in the bar with no name, with a whole bunch of villains in there. I mean, there's Shocker, Vulture, Scorpion, Kraven. Thought Kraven was dead. That might be his son. Black Cat, she's not really a villain. Well, she's half and half. Rhino, Sandman, Bullseye, Taskmaster. And Firestar is drunk as a skunk. How's she going to get to the West Coast tomorrow? Because she did agree to come. So then we cut to an abandoned factory near downtown Los Angeles, where we see our terminal cancer patient get out of the cab, get into a wheelchair, and somebody wheels her into the facility where we see Ultron. Like, you had to have known that he was still a bad guy. Just had to have known. He tells the lady that everything's going to be okay and that he's going to cure her for cancer. She goes, is it going to hurt? He goes, initially, but after that, there will be no pain. He grabs her. There's like things wrapping around the lady, and then all of a sudden, he snaps her neck. And then her body is burned until he's just holding her head. And then he walks her head over, puts it onto like this Ultron body. These things go attached to her head. He goes, can you hear me? And she wakes up and goes, yes. And he goes, good, sleep, heal, and welcome to the family. As we see, he's been doing this a lot. This is the gospel of Ultron. All I know is that in the end, they better bring back Hank Pym.